Yes, sir. March equals madness. Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight with your host, Rizwan. And here we are. All right. Wonderful conversation in the first segment with Manny. And now we've got Shep from Chicago, but really Shep from the SEC. Shep, welcome back, man. How's it going?
Anything going on in the world of sports?
Yeah, I think there might be some pickup basketball games that have broken out in the last 3 days.
Well, some teams have played like it's pickup basketball.
Yes. All right. So I want to hear from you. I know, hopefully, you've been listening in. We had a lot of our Big 12 centric conversation with Manny. His roots being at Rock Chalk Jayhawk in Lawrence, Kansas, with KU, and the Big 12, which is now expanded to 16. And the expansion they did, it was really the Big 12 at this point. I think from an overall pedigree and strength standpoint, they're in basketball. They're rivaling the SEC.
Oh, I think they're better than the SEC.
Oh, wow. Shep
From a pedigree standpoint, they may not be currently better.
Yeah, no. Shep bringing the I was going to say the pragmatism here and the honest talk, right? That's why I need you, man. That's why I need you to keep me grounded, because my fanhood ends up taking over the logic side of the brain at sometimes. I'll admit, but yeah, the Big 12.
Well, only for it's look. The SEC's got. They haven't been a great basketball league, honestly, for the last 30 years.
Yeah, they've been top heavy, right? I mean, it's Kentucky.
It was Kentucky and
Florida for a little bit.
Yeah, Florida. Florida has their runs. Obviously, several national titles. It's hard to say their runs, but outside of that, the SEC hasn't made as much noise as they should have.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, from an SEC standpoint, what is the strongest team from the SEC that you've seen so far? Not necessarily regular season. What you've seen so far in the first 3 days? Who's standing out? Because it ain't Kentucky.
Florida's still the best overall team. Arkansas is the hottest team.
And we expected that, right? I mean, we talked about last week. We talked about the coaching. The coaching matters so much, especially beyond round one. I don't know why this happens in the NCAA tournament, but the first round can have some madness, can have some crazy, but coaching and experience starts to matter as you get into the second round, definitely by the time Sweet 16 rolls around. And we knew from a coaching standpoint between Pitino over in St. John and Calipari with Arkansas that the coaching was going to end up mattering. And Arkansas just has looked so good. They're
really hot right now.
Yep.
And obviously they took down the Cinderella High Point.
Yeah.
But that was not the worst game. Arkansas, I think.
And it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, no. But they're in the Sweet 16. So here's the thing. If you're a Kentucky fan, and I have to ask this because in basketball, because I'm an SEC guy, Kentucky is my least favorite fan base. Okay? The sense of entitlement Kentucky basketball fans have is only rivaled by the sense of entitlement I feel like Alabama football has.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you're a Kentucky fan and you lose today, what are you thinking about Coach Cal at Arkansas? Because better than he did recently at Kentucky. How's that feel? Does it mean that maybe it's a Kentucky problem and not a Coach Calipari problem?
Look, I think if I'm a fan, so a couple of things. First, if I'm a fan, I'm going to have questions, right? Because as a fan, you always are staring at what's right in front of you, not necessarily having the big picture. So yes, I think I'm going to be questioning them. Now, I said two things. The other thing is the boosters, those who control UK basketball, they don't care. They don't care what the fan thinks.
That's true. That is one of the more true things that either one of us has ever said on this show.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter, but I think those boosters who made those decisions, I think it's more about those guys starting to have some doubts and starting to wonder. What's the old? I'm gonna channel my. What's his name? The YouTube personality now. What are we doing? What's going on?
This is where my age catch up with me. I don't know YouTube personalities.
So anyway, yeah, they're gonna be wondering like, what is happening? You know, how did this happen? We had cast this guy out.
Yeah.
Right. Tucker Carlson is who I was trying to channel. What are we doing? What are we doing? What's going on? How this happen?
Unfortunately, I'm familiar with him.
But anyway, don't want to get political here.
Yeah.
I think, look, UK, even if they had not struggled in their first round game, they're going up against a powerhouse in Iowa State who just absolutely rolled through that first game, right?
You know, Jefferson's hurt for Iowa State, so he's out, I think. And that could impact the game. But I still think Iowa State's just a better team.
Yep.
And that's something that Kentucky's got to figure out. Like, when Iowa State's got arguably more talent and is a better organized team than Kentucky's got to go, how do we let this happen? And that's not a knock on Iowa State. They just don't have the resources of the Kentucky program. When it cuts across sports, right? When you have an organization or a franchise or whatever it is you want to call it that has the historical name and the resources going against a team that doesn't have the resources of the name, and the other one is the better one, you really have to look in the mirror and ask questions of like, how did this happen? Is this a transition year? Is this the product of a long-term trend we need to turn around? Are we unlucky for whatever reasons? And you have to be honest about luck, because injuries happen, whatever. Honest mistakes are made that aren't as destructive as other things. But in Kentucky's case, they've been kind of wallowing in just above mediocrity for a few years now. And they have to ask, why is that the case? What is it about our organization that's lending itself to less than optimal results?
Yeah, and I think it's more about what you said at first. It's not just that they're kind of struggling, trying to find the dominance of years past. It's that the coach that you cast aside went to a once proud but a downtrodden program in Arkansas, and hasn't
really been good in a long time.
Yeah, I mean what was I'm going to channel my inner Rick Pitino. Nolan Richardson isn't walking through those doors, right? I mean, they haven't been great since those Scotty Thurman days from the early to mid 90s, and he completely turned it around in two years.
Yep.
To the point
you
that
can do that in the portal, right? And in basketball as opposed to football, because in basketball you just have to get one or two talents, but he's actually got a good team.
Absolutely. I mean, so look, I'm sure it felt great when they went into Arkansas, Kentucky, and beat them back in January. But these are championship programs, right?
Yep.
Kentucky is the blue blood program of college basketball. North Carolina kind of showed up later. Duke showed up even after that. But it's Kansas and Kentucky, the original blue bloods, right? So winning a regular season championship, a regular season game going in against your ex-coach, that's not moving the needle. What moves the needle is here, struggling against a double-digit opponent and really lucking into. I mean, dude made that three. You saw the three, right? To tie it. I mean, a 37 footer,
off balance,
banking it in. I mean, he didn't call the bank there. It went in, and they were able to pull it off. But otherwise, they would have been out in round one.
Yeah.
And then what? I mean, at least here, if they lose to Iowa State, they can spin it, right? They were the better team, blah, blah, blah. We need more
why are
talent.
you having to spin that if you're Kentucky?
Right?
That's the question. Like, why? And I mean, you were the 800-pound gorilla, right, in college basketball.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. So I digress. So so the SEC is not as strong this year, right, as they were last year when we sent all those teams to tournament.
Yep. So look, we still sent 10 teams this year, but I don't know.
Doing okay, right? Like, so Vanderbilt loses the close game to Nebraska, and a heartbreaker. You know, they're like a couple centimeters away from that last second shot going in. They actually had the lead. They lost it in the second half after regaining it or gaining it after trailing at halftime. Texas A&M gets blown out by Houston. Right, Houston's just a good team. A&M is a good team, but Houston's just a lot better than them. Right? Yeah. And so you've got, in today's games, you've got Kentucky, which you talked about.
I think it's up to
favored against Virginia, by the way.
And they should be. I actually had Virginia losing in the first round. I had that was one of my big upsets. I had VCU going to the Sweet 16. I got it right in round 1 over UNC. I did not get it right in round 2, and then I had Virginia getting upset, and then Tennessee advancing to the Sweet 16. So, I mean, that might happen. So look. The SEC already is doing fairly well, not as well as the Big Ten. The Big Ten is, I think, after 3 days, they're sitting at 11-2. Yeah. But at this point in these games today, if Tennessee beats Virginia, which I expect them to do, if Kentucky somehow lucks into an upset over Iowa State, and Bama, Texas Tech, I think that's going to be an excellent game for a basketball fan to just sit and watch, right?
Yeah, and then you've got Florida probably winning against Iowa.
Yeah, I think that one again. What do you like to say? This is why I don't gamble. Like I wouldn't put money on Florida, but I mean, 90% chance they're winning that.
Yeah, like they should win that game.
Yep. So
with that short center, there's.
Yep.
That one picture where their center's standing next to the guy who's 6'8". And the 6'8" guys just looking at him like, what? This never happened to me in my life. Because it hasn't. They're not supposed to be that tall.
Yep. So, yeah, I think if Bama, Tennessee, and then Kentucky pull off the upset, I think the script is flipped and we're talking about the SEC.
Yeah. And here's my beef with the script thing, okay? It is when you have knockout tournaments, one and done, like the March Madness, I'm really hesitant to draw overarching conclusions from them unless it's just truly statistically dominant, okay? Because college basketball is a grind. It's a long season. It's not like NBA long, okay? But it's a long season.
Pretty long.
And the season tells you more about who's the best team than the tournament does.
Yeah.
Because when UNLV lost to Duke back in the 90s.
Ooh, Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon.
Yeah, like a best of 7 series. Duke won their first game and then they lose 4-0, like 4-1 after that, right? Like there's no chance they're winning any other games besides that first one.
Mm-hmm.
But they won the first one, and that's all anybody cares about, you know. And I like March Madness. Don't be wrong. I like the unpredictability of the tournament, though. There is something to be said for the chalky nature of this year's tournament so far. 13, 14, 15, 16, none of them won, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you say 16 has never won?
Oh, no, this year.
Yes. Yeah. 16, I mean, Siena was the closest. That would have been an upset.
They kind of had Duke. That would have been. I mean, that Duke team's good. That. So I've waffled back and forth between if I think Arizona or Duke's going to win it all. And I've sided with Duke. So we'll see if I'm right or not. Uh, but it's
Yeah, I
okay,
think
there's a chalk nature to the from 12 and up that's been there so far this year.
yeah. I was my daughter was doing a bracket. I think last year was the first time she did it. So we had a conversation. I was working Wednesday, and she's pinging me, "Hey, what about this? What about this game?" And I walked her through the 12-5 and the historical context of the 12-5, how ridiculous it is, because that's a pretty wide gap between a 5 and a 12, except every single year there's at least one 12. And I was talking her through, like, we had a healthy, like, 5-6 minute long conversation on the 12-5 and how I try to pick at least two 12 upsets every year. But the trick is, do you get the right one? And I analyzed all four, and I was like, look, McNeese State is the most likely. Like, that if you're going to pick one, that's the one you pick. And yes, I think I had McNeese, and I picked two, and I think I missed both of the 12-5s. And the one,
How much did you know about High Point before this year?
oh, nothing.
So this is the first time in a long time where I've had to go, I'm sorry, who is that? I've heard of.
I knew the name. I knew the name. Like,
I didn't.
Okay.
This is the first time where I literally was like, I've never heard of this name before.
Yeah. No, I knew the school, but they weren't on my radar. I don't know if that game was the one that I paid the least, or that I expended the least amount of brain cells trying to pick. But I can't think of another game. Like, I mean, that was an automatic click. I was like, yeah, High Point's not doing anything here. And
they did.
I mean, that's why it's March Madness, right? That's what. How does Mr. Berman like to say? That's why we play the games.
Yeah, no, it is. And it absolutely is. And High Point just made me think of another culturally relevant incident from this week, but we'll talk about that offline in Afroman.
Okay. All right. So I think big games riding on the SEC and their reputation today. These three. Texas is already. I mean, who would have thought that the 11th seeded Texas would be the first one? The ones who had to play a play-in game.
Yeah, and now they're in the Sweet 16. And that's look. They were playing much better at the end of the season than they were at the beginning. And there is something to momentum in basketball. Like if you're hot basketball team is more dangerous than almost any other type of team.
Yeah.
Except maybe a hot hitting team, I guess, in baseball. But because of the importance of the 3-pointer and how variable hot cold can be, okay, in basketball, man, a hot team really can. Just look at the Mississippi State team that was a 2 team that lost to, was it Providence or Xavier?
Xavier.
It was Xavier. Man, we had no business losing that game. But Xavier could not miss. They were making threes that would embarrass the Golden State Warriors from distance.
Yeah. No, that happens, man. So again, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that happens. That's why it's one of the reasons why I don't ever bet on any sport, much less college basketball.
Yep. Part of it, I don't want to say it's. I don't want to sound like a crazy fan who thinks it's all luck. I'm sure there are other factors that go in. I go all the way back to what was that? The 92, the 93, 94, the Final Four season, the season the tournament that MSU went to the Final Four and ran into that Syracuse team.
96,
who just went like, what was it? 23 of 24 from free throws, and just could not play. Now, the reason I said it's not all just luck, it's how you go into the game.
Guy was a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he was. But also, I think there was talk that came out in subsequent years. How they what was it? Who was our player? Todd Merritt. Todd Merritt was a big name on that team, right?
The state.
But they were
had-
they were at Madison Square Garden. They were in New York. They were partying the night before. So that's how you allow an opposition to go 22 of 23 from the free throw line.
Well, how does you being hungover help somebody else make free throws?
Well, you're fouling. You're tired. You're fouling.
Yeah. Okay.
Not making
You're
the free
talking about
throws.
number
I'm saying
of fouls.
you're
Gotcha.
putting them on the line 23 times.
Yeah.
I remember there was a huge disparity. There was also a turnovers disparity, if I remember
Well, it's
correctly.
because we couldn't figure out the famous zone.
Yeah.
We just we didn't have a true point that year.
Yeah, but like it was if I remember correctly, it was like something like 18-4, like huge disparity turnovers, and still we were close-ish. That was a good team, and we had gotten on a run. Who was the guard?
We've
Daryl
been on our own
Wilson.
run, yeah, because we won the championship and then we beat Cincinnati and UConn.
Yeah,
right?
yep. That was the year. That was the year. But that's what keeps folks coming back, right? Teams
Yep,
that
it
you
does,
don't
like remembering
expect.
that. Yeah.
They can get hot. There are, somebody else can get hot, and the team that's meant to be in the Final Four in the championship can get knocked out in round 1, round 2, round 3, and that's why we keep coming back. So yeah, so here I've got the records. Yes, the Big Ten is shining right now at 11-2. The Big 12, for all the talk and all the top heaviness that we talked about between Iowa State, between Houston, Arizona, the Big 12 is just 7-3 in the tournament this year. The Big 10 is
games in the tournament.
Yeah, the Big 10 is 11-2. The SEC is sitting at 10-4.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I expect a couple more. I expect Kentucky to lose today.
Yeah, I think that's I would be shocked if Kentucky beats Iowa State. I would
Even
be
with the injury, and I think it's because Kentucky's got talent, but they're not a great team.
Yeah.
Which is a coaching and acquisition issue.
And look, I want to go back to Texas. So they're sitting in the Sweet 16, and I know our listeners here there's a lot of Longhorn fans here. They've got a legit shot at going to the Elite Eight because Purdue is good, but I think Texas will match up against them. But if Miami pulls off the upset and beats Purdue,
well, yeah. I mean, obviously, look, I think Purdue's better than Miami.
Yeah,
and I think they'll beat Texas, but they're not unbeatable.
Exactly. The way they corralled Gonzaga yesterday, right? I think
Yeah, no, good defense.
they are. So yes, I think the big games to watch today are where'd we go? Here we go. Bama, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Virginia, UK, Iowa State, and probably not a whole lot of attention on UK, Iowa State. But either way, unless they go 0 for 3, I think the SEC is going to. I expect those three to go 2-1, and then Florida winning. So 3-1 will put the SEC's record at 13-5. And I think
it's respectable.
It's very respectable out of 10 teams, and having let's see if they have 3, maybe 4 Sweet 16 teams. I think that's respectable, right? You get 4 out of the 10 advancing to the final 16, but it also I think the overall conference competition, it depends on how the Big Ten does today. And we'll go from there. All right, time for a break. This is going to be a slightly longer one. It's going to be about 6 minutes, but we're going to take that break. We're going to come back, and we're going to pull out the scope of the spotlight, kind of broader from the SEC. We're going to talk about some of the other teams that we're looking at, that we're thinking are going to be getting into the Final Four. I know at the end of the last segment, I had Manny give us his prediction on the Final Four. I want to get into that with you, and then we'll talk other sports in the last segment. But right now, it's all March Madness all the time until it's not. Sound like Yogi Berra now. But hey, let's take a break and we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so with more Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
This is Radio Azad, where your voice matters.